Went 3-2 Saturday, then 3-2 Sunday here on the Power 5. Still treading above water with the 236, 218, and 12 overall run on the show. Bit of a different approach we're going to go with here on Monday. If you like betting props, well, then you're in luck because I've got 5 of them for tonight's big game between the Ravens and Chargers. The Harbaugh brothers reunited yet again. As a reminder, you can go ahead and comment down below with your thoughts on any of these selections. All lines current as of 9 a.m. Eastern using both DraftKings and FanDuel. I'll let you know which book has better odds for each prop. Let's start with Justin Herbert, over 256.5 passing yards. This is DraftKings. Now, I know the Chargers quarterback comes in averaging only 218.6 yards per game for the season, but this offense is starting to get more pass happy. To that point, since the Week 5 bye, Herbert is averaging 268 yards passing per game. He's cleared this number of 256.5 in 4 of the last 5 games, and here he faces what has been, statistically speaking, the NFL's worst pass defense. The Ravens are giving up 284.5 yards per game through the air. Now, Baltimore's defense is pretty stout against the run, so that should only result in Herbert throwing more tonight, especially if the Chargers end up trailing. Again, I like Herbert over 256.5 passing yards. Number 2, Will Dissly over 40.5 yards receiving. That's FanDuel. You can get the best number. If Herbert's going to go over his passing yards prop, that means at least one Chargers receiver should have a nice game, right? So let's look at the tight end position. Again, this very bad Ravens pass defense is giving up the most yards per game to tight ends, 66.9 yards per game. Dissly comes in averaging only 35.2, but he had 80 yards last week versus Cincinnati. And again, this is a favorable matchup. Plus, not sure if Ladd McConkey can go for LA. McConkey not playing would obviously open up even more opportunities for Dissly in the passing game. Let's now look at the Baltimore side. Number 3 on the Power 5, Lamar Jackson, longest rush over 14.5 yards. You can get that number either DraftKings or FanDuel. This number looks pretty low, doesn't it? In all but 2 games this season, Jackson has had a run of at least 16 yards. The MVP candidate has averaged, or he did average, 11.5 yards per rush attempt last week against the Steelers. He's had a run of at least 10 yards in every game this season. Always a threat to break one. The Chargers don't necessarily rush the passer well. I think Lamar's going to have a big game here, both rushing and passing. Got to go over 14.5 yards for his longest rush attempt. Now, conversely, I like Derrick Henry under 18.5 rush attempts in this game. That's at DraftKings. You can get that number. As good as Henry is, we've seen his usage drop over the last month or so. He's finished with 16 or fewer carries in 4 of his last 5 games. The one exception was against Denver. Why was that an exception? Well, the Ravens were up big throughout. They won, I believe, 41-10 was the final score there. So in the second half, they could just afford to hand the ball off. Don't really care how much yardage they're getting. They just wanted to kill the clock. Tonight's game likely ends up being pretty close, I think. So I don't see King Henry necessarily racking up the rushing attempts. The Chargers' defense is also very solid against the run. That may discourage Baltimore from handing the ball off with any real regularity. Number 5, let's close things out with a bit of a long shot, and that is Rashod Bateman. Anytime touchdown, plus 320. Make sure to get that at FanDuel. They have much better odds than DraftKings does for Bateman. Somebody's got to get in the end zone for the Ravens. Henry is obviously the most popular option, followed by Zay Flowers, Jackson, and Mark Andrews. But you could throw Andrews out because the Chargers defense has not allowed a tight end to score a touchdown all season. Only defense in the league that can say that. The key for Bateman, he's been a little more successful than the other Ravens receivers against zone. The Chargers defense plays a lot of zone. So let's look for Bateman to find the end zone. He didn't get there last week versus Pittsburgh, but there have only been 2 times this season where Bateman has gone back-to-back games without scoring a TD. All right, quick recap of the Power 5 for you. Monday Night Football. Number 1, Justin Herbert over 256.5 passing yards. Number 2, Will Dissly over 40.5 yards receiving. Number 3, Lamar Jackson, longest rush over 14.5 yards. Number 4, Derrick Henry, under 18.5 rush attempts. Number 5, Rashod Bateman, anytime touchdown, plus 320. Again, go ahead, comment down below with your thoughts on any of those 5 plays. Smash that like button if you're in agreement with them. Let me know what you're betting on tonight as well. Always enjoy seeing that. As for what I am betting, there's only one place to go, and you know where that is, wt.buzz/pp. It was a 5-5 weekend overall for me with client plays, but I did hit the 2 big ones, a 5% in college football with Fresno State And also my $5 special. Thank you to everyone who got down on that last Tuesday. Of course, every Tuesday at WagerTalk, $5 best bets from your favorite WagerTalk handicappers. My $5 special was Kansas over Colorado. That was an outright winner with the Jayhawks. My college football continues to set the standard, guys. I've said it all year long. Number one this season at WagerTalk. Not only that, number one last 365 days in CFB as well. It's a 58-29 run, plus 95.2 units. Red hot 15-7 my last 22. And I just mentioned that 5% winner on Saturday with Fresno State. I am now 9-1 with all max bets in football. That's NFL and college over the last 12 months. That too, numero uno, number one at WagerTalk during that time. It's obviously going to be a very busy week for yours truly. It's feast week, Thanksgiving, a lot of football on the docket. You know I'm going to be betting on a lot of it, so consider getting a 7-day pass for only $99. Or if you want to lock in long term, you can get the rest of the college and NFL seasons. That's every play through the national championship game, through the Super Bowl, for only $34 per week. For only $34 per week, you get every college selection, every NFL selection the rest of the way. That deal is currently available on my page. One more time, that's wt.buzz/BP. And that will do it for the Monday edition of the Power 5. I hope you enjoyed it. Smash that like button if you did. Make sure you're subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And until next time, guys, let's cash some tickets.